Hope everybody's doing well. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about money and some accounts that I think are good for people to have. Just wait a few minutes to see if anyone joins on the live. Welcome to Team U Finances Live. If you're just joining me, welcome. Good afternoon, online survey. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the live. On today's live, I just wanted to talk about a few checking accounts or a few accounts that people should have. I know it's very cliche, but it kind of made a difference. So I feel that I should do it. Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're talking about types of accounts, specifically checking accounts that people should have. If anybody could put in the live any accounts that they traditionally have that's working good for them, that are giving away any type of bonuses, because I think a lot of people don't know. It's a little bit cliche to talk about checking accounts. Oh, okay. You're subbing. You're subbing in a school, Jackie. You're subbing in a school. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Thank you for joining. I'm just going to talk with you guys for maybe a good 20 minutes just about traditional accounts, because a lot of people don't know about different accounts that they could have. So for people, I don't know if everybody has a checking account, but although it's a cliche statement, yeah, Brenda, I'm talking about type of accounts that people should have today, specifically uh, different types of checking accounts or different types of accounts to use. Hi, Yusef. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. Right. I mean, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to talk. I was asking people to tell me of any type of accounts that they have that they would like to share. The reason why I brought this topic up is that a lot of people have checking accounts that are not like working for them. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they have their accounts, but they're not getting any bonuses. They're not getting any interest on it, no returns. And I think that if anybody's going to have their money go into a bank, I think they should be able to make a little bit of money on it. That's why I brought this topic up. And so what I was telling people, hi, Yusef, thank you for joining me. All right. What I was telling people is that depending where you're sending your money when you get paid, you should be able to get some type of interest on it or something good. Or if you're with a bank that's not really giving you a lot of interest on your money, you can open up different accounts. So I know that, hi Tuba, thank you for joining me. So I know that with certain banks, for example, if you send your money there after a certain amount of time, they might give you like a bonus. Now, if you're in the United States, you have banks that give you like $200-300 after a few months or a few direct deposits to join or to send your money there. Now, these are things that I've personally done with my own accounts, where I would join specific banks, and after a while, they would give me a certain amount of money once I sent my money there. I think it's a great way to earn some money, and it's a great way to also, make your money work for you. So I don't know. That's what I was asking traditionally, if anybody wants to join any banks that would give them some type of interest on their money. I also want to reiterate, even though we're talking about checking accounts, there's one that I really, really like. And this kind of, I think this might be a little bit beneficial to Brenda that was asking about the finance before. We have something called the high yield savings accounts. Now, high yield savings accounts are a great way for people to save and for people to earn money on their checking accounts, right? So with the high yield savings accounts, and I personally have one where like I literally send my money to a specific account. But the good thing about the high yield savings account is that it's giving you a higher interest rate than traditional banks. So right now you have some banks that are giving anywhere from 4 to 6%. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather get at least, 4% on my money rather than getting zero for my money. That's the good thing about a high yield savings accounts. And I'm not going to say they're undercover, but a lot of people don't know about high yield savings accounts. Or they might have seen the commercial or they might have seen the advertisement online and they're like, oh, what does that mean? Like, I don't care. But there's so much wealth in using or getting high yield savings accounts. So I always encourage anyone to do it. So what did I do when I wanted to open my high yield savings accounts? I literally went online and I Googled high yield savings accounts. And once I Googled high yield savings accounts, I saw the banks that were offering different, different interest rates. So I ended up opening my high yield savings account with a company named Mumu. Now, Mumu is traditionally a brokerage company. We all know what brokerage accounts are. Brokerage accounts are if you want to buy like stocks, bonds, you want to buy mutual funds and stuff like that. But they have a wide range of products where they tend to give you, a lot higher interest rates. So if you have like a brokerage account that you do with like, and again, I could only talk about Mumu that I know because I bank with them. But if you have like a brokerage account, you buy your stocks, your mutual funds, whatever you could, buy, sell, trade your stocks there. Hi, Splash. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your time. We're talking about different types of accounts that bring money or, give you a little bit more on the money that you're already working. I was actually talking about, having a brokerage account. I was talking about a money mark. I was talking about a high yield savings account. I'm talking about a brokerage account. And I'm talking about a company that I use personally for my own brokerage accounts. Right. So Moomoo gives you that. And the good thing about them, and again, I'm not being paid to endorse them, but the only reason I'm mentioning them to you is because it's a product that I personally use. One thing that I do on my channel is that like whenever I mention anything or I bring something up, it's because it's something that I personally use or it's something that I think will be beneficial to, to my subscribers or people that actually come on my lives. I don't just tell you things that I don't think are beneficial or that I've never used or experienced. And even if I didn't use it before talking about it, actually research and see what the benefits are for it. So what I was saying with Moomoo is that if you wanted to open that broker account where you want to start buying your stocks or your mutual funds, Moomoo's great to do it. If you also, they also have it where they could, send your money. You could do it through direct deposit. You could send and withdraw your money from Moomoo. I mean, it's such a good product. Now, let's go back to traditional banks. Let's go back to traditional checking accounts because I know it's very cliche, but a lot of people don't realize the benefits and the importance of having a checking account. A checking account is important. When you don't have a checking account, sometimes you got to go the old fashioned way. You got to ask somebody to cash your check. You have to go to those check cashing places. You have to pay like extra fees. But once you have that checking account and the money is literally being sent to your bank account, you don't have to worry about that. Like you don't have to waste your time trying to get your money cash or trying to get your money clear. I think it's easier that way than waiting in line to cash a check or going to a check cashing place or even using those cards. I like having access to my money right away. All I got to do is just use my ATM card. Hello, bonjour. Thank you so much for joining me. I think you're joining me from, what flag is that? I don't know what flag it is, but bonjour. Thank you so much for joining me. It's really nice for you to join me. We're just talking about leveling up and making some money and using different accounts to gain, some interest on our money rather than just letting our money sit there. I think a lot of people put their money in certain places and they don't even gain on it. There's nothing for them to gain, nothing for them to see. It's not good, but we're trying. Right. So that's how, checking accounts really work. That's the beauty of them. Now, a lot of people might just use their checking accounts just to pay their bills, or, depending where you are, a lot of people use their checking accounts like to send money. They want to do something called Zelle instantly. I mean, it's such a beauty. And many times when you try to make purchases, a lot of places don't want hard cash. They want your debit card. Well, your debit card is connected to your checking account. So because your debit card is connected to your checking account, you in essence, you have to have that checking account to be able to make certain purchases, right? A lot of things that you do is basically online these days. Now, let's talk about another type of account that I think is very important for people to have. Now, I'm going to be putting out a video after I finish this live, and basically this video just talks about the accounts that I'm mentioning, but this is more of a Q&A where we could actually talk about them. I talked about people having something called a money market account. And again, these are accounts that I think a lot of people should have traditionally, but they don't know about them, or they haven't invested in them, or they were never encouraged to get one. Now, a money market account, this is an account that I grew up hearing about a lot. But again, when I was growing up, I didn't really understand the benefits of a money market account. So with a money market account, it allows you to save and at the same time have check writing privileges where you can basically withdraw your money. You can use the money to pay your bills. So with the money market account, let's say you could save a little bit of money, and you could also get access to your money by writing a check, and you're still earning interest on it, which is really, really good. Now, it's actually cliche that people say, oh, save your money, use this, open this account. But a lot of people just don't know how to actually save their money or where to put them in those type of accounts. So a money market account is also another great way to start. All right. I also want to talk about the next account in detail. This one is called the IRA. This one is the individual retirement account. And I literally took some notes, on the IRA, the individual retirement account. So with the individual retirement account, this I think someone said I'm muted. I'm sorry. Can everybody hear me now? Can everyone hear me? I think my microphone went off a little bit. I think everyone should be able to hear me a little bit better. I'm sorry. My microphone went dead, so I had to literally disconnect it. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. I am was asking a question. He was asking about donating. What I said is that if you wanted to make a donation to mirror the channel or support the channel, you could just go in the link in the description. It says buy me a coffee. You could just click on that link and you could, send a donation through that. I do appreciate the support. I'm not sure of where my mic went dead, but I talked about having something called an IRA, individual retirement account. And this is an account where you basically pay your taxes up front. Okay. Thank you so much, I am. I appreciate you supporting my channel. And as I said, I apologize. I'm not sure of where it went mute. So that's why I'm kind of re-saying the last thing that I said before it went mute. So with the Roth IRA, you end up buying, I'm sorry, not buying, you end up, opening an account where you pay your taxes from the beginning. So you put that into retirement, you put that into savings. So with an IRA, that is money that you already pay taxes on. All right. And when you pay taxes on this money, you can basically, now you can take it and save it somewhere else. You could save that money into like an account. Maybe you open up a brokerage account and you start saving that money. Well, the good thing about it is that you don't pay. Hi, cool guy. Thank you so much. You could DM me or message me in the link in the description if you want to get in touch with me. Okay. My email is teamufinance@gmail.com. All right. I have to kind of keep it professional on the live because we're talking about, growing our wealth and prosperity. But you can email me at teamufinance.com, or you can support my channel. You can buy me a coffee. It's in the link in the description if you go to Team U Finance's channel. So with the IRA, once you already pay taxes on it and you put it away, you start saving, you don't have to pay tax twice if you need to withdraw the money. That is important. Okay. Thank you, cool guy. I appreciate you. Really appreciate the support on the channel. Nobody wants to be taxed twice on their money. You just want to try to, have access to your money at a certain time. But the great thing about the IRA is, let's say, for example, you decided that each month you were going to save, like, I'm just throwing numbers out. I'm not telling you what to do. You're going to save like $2,000. Well, imagine each month you save $2,000 or even $10,000 over the course of 20 years. And for some people, 20 years can go by very fast. 20 years can go by very slow. Let's say you decide to save that money for the 20 years. Who knows? You might just reach $1 million or whatever your goal is. You got to set your individual goal for your money. You got to set your individual goals of what you want to save. So that's how IRAs work. IRAs are basically individual retirement accounts. You pay your taxes up front and you don't pay taxes on them again. Once you do it, you have your money squared away, and you can also get access to it. Very, very, very important. Okay. I also want to mention that, a lot of people tend to save their money again. They have people put it away for them, or some people keep their money at home. But I believe that if you want to kind of grow your money, or you want to, see your interest on your money, the best way to do it is like I said, is opening that high yield savings account. That high yield savings account, you get so much interest on your money. And a lot of people, a lot of banks don't tell you about it. The way that I learned about a high yield savings account was, I was literally at work and I heard a girl talking to somebody else. I was actually eavesdropping and I heard the girl saying, hey, listen, my high yield savings account is giving me this type of money. And so I didn't say anything to the girl at the time. I literally went home and I Googled what a high yield savings account was. I Googled it. I'm like, high yield? And the words and the description, it speaks for itself. High, up. It's not a low. There's nothing low about it. Okay. You're basically getting your money. You're earning a lot of money by getting a high yield savings account. It's a great way for you to save your money. You don't have to wait a specific time. Once you Google high yield savings accounts and you see the one, you compare the one that you want to use, or you get the one that you think is going to be best for you. Once you do that, you're able to basically invest in it. So what I was saying before is that the direct deposit, have your money sent through direct deposit or direct transfer into your high yield savings account. That's what you do. And once you get it, once you have the high yield savings account, you're just basically earning interest. So there's a company that I keep mentioning. The one that I personally use is called Moomoo. And Moomoo allows you basically to send your money to them through the direct deposit. You can basically transfer money over. When I transfer my money over every month, Moomoo basically pays you a certain amount of interest on it. Okay. For me, that's wonderful. They also have like another good product where if you decide to, invite a friend to open up like, stocks or get a brokerage account, like they'll give you some free stocks that you would cash out later. I mean, there's so much products and so much wealth out there if you decide that you want to open up one of these accounts. Does anybody have any questions for me about any of these accounts that I mentioned? I mentioned quite a few. I talked about the brokerage account, which, helps you to basically buy your stocks and your mutual funds, right? I talked about that because it helps you to build your portfolio, your financial portfolio over long term. Okay. I talked about the IRAs, the individual retirement accounts. This is the account where you pay your taxes up front and you don't pay taxes again once you pay on that money, right? It's like you pay once, you get it, you invest it somewhere else, you bank it somewhere else, you keep banking on it each month, you keep putting money away each month because you're setting a goal. I also talked about the money market accounts. Now, the money market account, like I said, a lot of people tend to sleep on that account because me personally, even before doing this live and actually making a video, I did a little research on the money market account. Now, I personally don't have a money market account, but I'm actually thinking of opening a money market account. Money market accounts are great because basically you get, like I said, you get to have check writing privileges, and you also at the same time get to save, and you get a decent interest rate with the money market account. So money market accounts are a really, really good way for you to save and gain interest at the same time. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit thirsty. All right. I just went extensively on the high yield savings accounts. High yield savings accounts, as I said multiple times, gives you a lot of high interest, anywhere from 4 to 6%. You're going to use Google to get that type of information. Right. I also want to mention the credit unions. Now, credit unions are another great way to bank. Right. They're another great way to bank. Credit unions are really, really good. With credit unions, you save your money, right? And you can get a lot of financial products from credit unions. You get a lot of good products from credit unions. You get products such as if you wanted to buy a car, you get a good auto loan. Okay. Hi, so how are you? Would you like to contribute to the live? I think it's Lee Kasu. I'm talking about different products. Would you like to contribute to the live? Yes, I'm talking about financial and money products that I think are good. Now, if you don't like my live, you can disconnect. That doesn't bother me. All right. Okay. Hi, Chizen. How are you? Thank you for joining. I ask everybody that comes on my live to be respectful. If you don't like what I'm talking about, you can disconnect. That doesn't bother me. But I would never come on your live and be disrespectful and rude. Because all I have to do is just remove you or remove your comment from my live. Or I could just block you from my live. That's all. Thank you for being respectful. Again, if you don't like the live, please disconnect. Appreciate you. Okay. So what I was saying before, when I was just talking, I was talking about a credit union. And these sound a little bit, thank you X444 for joining. A credit union, a lot of people sleep on credit unions because they're like, oh, okay, whatever, I already have a bank account. But I never understood why people never wanted to know about things or products that could make them grow and, earn a little bit more money. I mean, I like money. I like to be paid. Of course. The only thing that I was saying about a credit union is that they have a lot of products that are basically I call them undercover because people don't realize how good it is. For example, if you wanted to buy a car and you're a member, that's another thing too. That's right, X444. I agree. They're much better. You get so much more for your money. I've used credit unions before when I wanted to buy my first car. I got a better interest rate because what I did was I ended up going to them and I basically was pre-qualified. All I had to do was just take that letter to the dealership. And then once I picked out the car that I wanted, because if I had bought the car through the dealership, if the credit union was, I'm just throwing a number, credit union was giving me 4%. The dealership was going to give me 9, 10%. Because remember, Another thing is when you trying to buy a car and you go through a dealership as opposed to a credit union, they run your credit so much. They basically dwindle your score, I think, to get a higher percentage so they could give you like a higher interest rate. Yes, on cars, 100%. But with the credit union, the fact that you're a member and they already, remember, credit unions already know your financial profile. They know what's coming in. They know what you have already. All they got to do is just run your credit that one time again if they want to for an update and qualify it. It's either yes or no with the credit unions. I don't like companies or places where they have to put you through so much to qualify you for something. And I find that the credit union qualifies you better or quicker than the traditional bank. Now, I'm not telling people not to go to their banks and get whatever product they want to get. Like, I don't care. Like, it's your bank, it's your money. But I'm on this live or on my lives, I just talk about products that I think that are better or that can be used for, financial growth or for financial prosperity. And credit unions are a great way to go. Okay, on the subject, even if, okay, let's say we're talking about like getting a mortgage or qualifying for a mortgage, go to your credit union, right? Credit unions work for people that are like in the military. They work for people that want to get like FHA loans. Credit unions basically work for anyone that are members and you can show that you have some source of income. They tend to give you a lot better products, in my own opinion. But again, this is my opinion. This is Mel's Team U Finance's opinion. Doesn't mean that people got to go join credit unions. Another thing that I love about a credit union is that, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but people run into financial binds, they run into jams, and people have to get loans. People have to borrow because sometimes people don't have people or a place that they can go get money. When you are a member of a credit union, it's easier for you to get like a little quick payday loan or a little loan before. They're not going to be charging you 633% for a payday loan. And most times when you go to a traditional bank denies you. They don't lend you any money. But your credit union, once you have a banking relationship with your credit union, those people or that institution is going to be so much more quicker to lend you money than a traditional bank. And I don't understand why people just put their eggs into one basket when it comes to their money. If anybody has a moment to, like literally go through my channel, and I think I have 2 videos up there. I can't link it while I'm on the live. But I have 2 videos up there and I talk about why it's so important to have relationships with bank. Now, I was just talking about having a relationship with the bank, period, because I'm not anti-bank. I have a couple bank accounts, right? Chartway and Navy Federal, so right. Love Navy Federal, X444. I wish you could like literally co-host with me. I don't know Chartway, but I know Navy Federal. Yes, I'm a member of Navy Federal also. Another great place. I have gotten so much wonderful products with Navy Federal. Navy Federal works for everybody. Now, like any other, lending or banking institution, although it's a credit union, and X444, you know this, but they have their requirements too. You have to meet that. But it's another people-friendly bank, people-friendly lending institution. Credit unions, in my opinion, are very friendly. They want people to come in. They want people to bank. And I know for Navy Federal, they're very, very rich. They're very loaded. And why am I saying they're loaded? They have a lot of great financial products. Navy Federal, one thing I love about them, because they're really good at teaching people how to establish their credit. That's the good thing with Navy Federal. They're really, really good about helping people build credit. Navy Federal got their secured cards. Navy Federal even has products for like little kids. Like if you wanted to teach your kids about like finance and stuff like that, Navy Federal tends to do it. Okay. If you wanted like a loan, I know, thank you, giving out great advice. Yeah, because I'm so passionate. I'm so passionate about this that I do. Right now I tell everybody, like, I'm in my 40s. Like, I made a lot of financial mistakes, like when I was coming up and like when I was younger. And I literally got inspired about this channel. I got inspired about this channel based off things that I went through in my own life. Like I said, and I mean, I'm not telling anyone to go and like subscribe to my channel, but if you look on my channel, like all the videos that I made and the things that I talk about and so forth, it's, it resonates with me personally. Who's this? Same Jafari. Right. You made a statement. You said, Hey Raj, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the compliment. Again, if you want to support me, support my channel, go to my channel, link in description. You know, it says buy me could buy me a coffee. Right. Oh, right. We're in the same. Okay, we're about the same X444. So we're adults here. Right. Um, Sammy Jafari made a comment and said money is slavery. It's funny you said that because Raj, I can't do personal stuff on the live. If you need to contact me, you could email me at teamufinance@gmail. Right. We can't do personal things on the live. I'm here to talk about personal things. But Sammy said that we're talking about, money slavery. It's funny you said that because um, Malcolm X's father said, credit is slavery. Right. That's what Malcolm X's father said. Credit is slavery. And it's funny that you said money is slavery. In a sense, I kind of agree with you a little bit. It's like you always have to work for it. And I think in a way in this day and age it's good to work for money because when you don't know how money is made, it's like if somebody just hands money to you and spoon feeds you, you have no appreciation for it. But when you have to work for something, you care. You tend to take care of it more as opposed to just getting it free. Right. you know Thank you, Hamza. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please, as I said, support, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It'll really help me to get this content across because I notice, I watch a lot of channels on YouTube. Like, I don't really see people talking a lot about, the personal side of money. We've just been conditioned to go out and make it or go out and work and get it. Right. Okay. We've just been conditioned to go out and do it, but we haven't been able to, what's the word? We haven't been taught how to preserve it or how to keep it and so forth. And a lot of things that I see on my channel, people say, that it's cliche about money. Yes, I understand that we have to work for money, but once we work for that money, how do we preserve our money? How do we keep our money from going out? A lot of times I talk about on my channel, I talk about simple things like not borrowing money from people. Stop being at people's feet. Stop being at people's, disposal where they could disrespect you when it comes to money. Back to that whole thing when I was talking about Navy Federal and banking and so forth. Raj, you can email me at teamufinance, at gmail.com. teamufinance@gmail.com. Or you can go to my channel after this live is over and see how to connect to me, okay? If you really want to talk with me, I also do one-on-one talking and one-on-one coaching about, products and finance. I talk about everything when it comes to money because yes, there are other things in life, but at the end of the day, once you have your finances and, your money in order, you tend to be a lot better. You feel a lot better. Life is easier. Life is smoother than just running around and not having enough money to spend or not being comfortable. And again, as I said before, I went through all of these things. And I try to educate people and tell people to, to preserve their money, preserve their wealth. I don't believe in this thing of getting up and, begging or borrowing from people. I have this motto. I don't lend and I don't beg. I don't. Whatever I don't have, I just let it go. I work towards it, or I save towards it, or I set goals for myself. As I mentioned before, I'm in my 40s and I'm a very traditional type of person, okay? Right. That's right, X44. People need to learn how to make the money work for them and start putting the money away when that's right. And I don't know when you joined me on the live, X444, but I was talking about even those accounts, like those, those brokerage accounts or those IRAs accounts. My personal favorite is the high yield savings accounts. Now, I keep mentioning it because so much people are sleeping on it. Hi, Colette. Thank you for joining me. So much people are sleeping on high yield savings accounts. They're not putting their money where they're not sending it. Now, if you have accounts that are giving you anywhere from 4 to 6% interest, why would you not want to save your money there? Why would you want to leave your money in a traditional bank that is not giving you what they're giving you, 0.3%, if that much? Hi, Alicia. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about money, traditional ways to save our money, where to put our money, how to make our money work for us. Okay, welcome from Nigeria. That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. Right. Okay, Khaled, I don't, my channel doesn't talk about visas. I don't know about that. We talk about money and leveling up, but thank you for joining me. Again, you could, like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Once you get off the live, you could subscribe, and I give a lot of good tips. Okay, Emmy, thank you so much. Special shout out to you. Thank you so much for subscribing to this live, to this channel. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. As I've telling people, like, I'm here to motivate people to basically let their money work for them. I have another video on my channel. The name of this video is called Financial Abuse. And everybody that's on this live, yes, Emmy, Emmy Johnson, thank you. Yes, sweetie, thank you so much. I really appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much. One of my videos, I talked about financial abuse, and I had somebody leave a comment in the video and said, this is a good one. They've never heard of this one. And I said, in my mind, I said, what do you mean that you never heard of financial abuse? Financial abuse is real. It's out here. It's live. So many people work for their money, and when they work for their money, they have been robbed. What I mean by that is that people that they work for never paid in their money. That's an abuse of power when it comes to money, right? Other people, that they loved, people that they cared for, basically abused them when it came to money, meaning that, okay, it could have been even when you're growing up. Maybe that parent that you did everything to please, worked you, used you, never gave you a dime, never paid for anything that was needed in your life or anything that was near and dear to you. Okay? You could have been financially abused by a partner. It could have been your spouse. It could have been your sibling. It could even been your friend. These are the type of topics that I'm talking about on my channel, because these things are not being addressed and they're not being talked about. And they have to be addressed, because once we know exactly what the issue is and what the problem is, we're able to correct that, and we're able to start leveling up our wealth. Because again, I don't care what anybody says, money answers all. Okay, once you have your money to spend, you're not at anybody's mercy or anybody's disposal to treat you bad. So it's a great idea when you're able to see how your money's working and level that money out for you. I tell everybody that. Now, many times, when I'm doing lives and I'm talking about money, and people come on and they click off and they run off because it's like, oh, what is this lady talking about again? Yeah, I got a job. Yes, I understand you have a job, and that's wonderful that you have a job. But all I'm simply saying on my channel, on my live, is preserve for the long run. And as I said it 100 times, I'm in my 40s. I was never this wise. I'd like to think that I have a little bit of wisdom. Okay? X444 said this is brought cheese and kids about money in high school. Oh, listen. Oh, X44. God bless what you said. Money in high school. Listen, they don't teach you about that. You know what they teach in high school. They teach, lessons on history and, being a better citizen and all those things. And those things are all wonderful. But they're not teaching you how to write a check. They're not teaching you, how to open a savings account. The biggest thing that I think they should be teaching in high school is about credit. They're not teaching anybody about credit in high school. And credit has everything to do with money. Because, okay, I'm here, I'm in the United States, and this is a credit-run society. And the reason I'm mentioning where I'm from is because I have people on the live that are from different countries. I hear Nigeria. I'm thinking I'm having, some people from India. I thought I saw Pakistan before, and so forth, or other countries. And this is so wonderful, because it doesn't matter what part of the world where you're from or where you're at. Everybody needs money to spend. Money makes the world go round, right? But what I'm saying is, let's go back to high school. They never taught us about money. The first time that I got a checking account, and I remember like yesterday, I went to the bank, I opened up a checking account, and they gave me my checks. And yes, I was working at the time. I'm what am I, like 17? I wasn't direct depositing and so forth. And I put a little money there, and I'm there writing checks, and I'm getting letters. This is before everything was digital. I'm getting letters. Oh, ma'am, you bounced the check. And I remember I went into the bank and I spoke to the lady, and the lady was like, young lady, when you open a checking account, it doesn't mean that you just write checks and you just get money. You have to literally put money there. But the lady literally sat and had a tutorial with me about how the checking system worked. Never in high school did anybody teach me about writing a check. They didn't teach me anything, and I wasn't getting the lesson at home too with my parents. I don't know if they just didn't see the importance of teaching me about money or showing me what money was about. But all the lessons and the little that I know is what I learned personally. I never had those kind of courses in school. Nobody ever taught me about money in school. And I believe that they don't want to teach you. I don't know what it is. But the thing that I did differently is that I educated my children, or I tried my best. I made sure, that I told them about like having savings and checking and, putting your money into different places. Right. You said I'm an old man now and I have to be grown. I have grown kids and I've taught them from all my mistakes, and all the three of them are smarter than me at the age. Right. And that's a blessing what you did. That is such a blessing what you did by teaching your children, because a lot of us, again, this has to do with our upbringing. A lot of us wasn't taught about money. When I look at other people, and I meet different people, different cultures, different places, a lot of other people teach their kids about money, but some people don't teach their children about money. I don't know why. I mentioned credit like 5 minutes ago. That's another big thing that people weren't teaching their kids, but a lot of other people, some people teach their kids about credit. I happen to have a daughter right now that's 18 years old, and I've already started teaching her to build her credit. I told her what to do. I said, listen, sweetheart. I said, you know what? We're going to get you a secure credit card, because you're 18 now. Nobody's going to run and give you a credit card, right? All they're going to do is just run your credit. And once they run your credit, whatever, they're just going to keep dinging you. Now, she's only 18. She's not buying anything. Right? Again, Raj, contact me through email if you want to talk, or one-on-one coaching. Right? Or you can support my channel. You can buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. But what I'm saying is, with credit, a lot of people are not teaching their kids. So I took it upon myself to teach my daughter. I said, listen, you're going to get yourself a secured credit card. Right. Okay. You're going to, Raj, I don't even know how to send you my email on this, because I don't really go live often. But what I'm saying is, you can just go when the live is over. You can subscribe to the channel if you want. And when the live is over, you can just go and link in the description. Connect me through that, through teamufinance@gmail.com. I answer everyone, whether it's a video or it's a live or whatever it is. You send me a message, I always respond. Again, I wouldn't be here if it were not you people that subscribe to this channel or join me on this channel. I do appreciate it. Right. So I told her, I said, get that secure credit card. And she did. Went down to the bank and we got the secure credit card. And ain't nothing big on it, just a little bit amount. She has a little card as she's driving. I said, buy your gas, pay it up every month. I'm basically teaching her the things that nobody taught me or that I never understood. I learned about credit the hard way. Yes, I've had to max out credit cards and, be in default and all those things. And I've had to take dings on my credit and clean up my credit later. Listen, I've been through it. Right. I've been through all of that with credit. And I said, from what I learned, I said, I didn't want my child or my children to go through stuff like that. Again, I would hope that people live and learn when it comes to, doing, getting their finances together. So I made it my point of duty to talk about credit. I'm also making it my point of duty to teach them about like housing and stuff like that, how to save, how to prepare for housing. I'm making my point of duty how to teach them, like if you want to buy your car. I'm making my point of duty to teach my kids about banking, getting the best for your money. Like, I just don't believe in this thing of people just going about willy-nilly. You getting up every day, going to your job, and you getting up going to your job, and you're collecting your money, but you don't even know where your money's coming. Coming or going. I tell people, I said, listen, if you want to, okay, I tell people, said, okay, because I even talk about home buying too. Again, this is Team U Finance. I talk about home buying a lot on my channel. And I always tell people, say, when you want to try to buy yourself a home, what is the first thing that you think you need to do when you think you're serious about buying a home? And I get these vague answers. Oh, okay, get a realtor. No. I tell people the first thing that you need to do when you want to buy a home is literally get a pen and paper. Literally a piece of paper like this. And a pencil or a pen. And literally get that paper and write down Write down your budget. Write down what's coming in, okay? And write out what's going out. Literally look at your money on paper, because you got to be able to see it. You got to be able to see your money. You got to be able to see what you're doing with your money. Now, I know in this day and age, for young people, or for younger people, I have a digital this, I have a digital that. Digital is good. Digital is wonderful. I love digital. Like, I love technology. But I'm talking about the good old-fashioned way. Okay? Right. X444, that's exactly it. Because I believe when you see your numbers, or when you're seeing what is coming and going out, it'll make you wise up. I'll give you an example aside for that. So I decided to treat myself about 2 years ago, and I joined a health club, right? Joined the club, and now I get up, I still go for my daily walks. I love exercising. I got to clear my mind, right? But I still pay for that membership every month. Now, you know why I pay for the membership? Because it motivates me, because I'm seeing that money go out. Every 15th of the month, these people draw their money out. Do you think I'm going to keep paying for this membership and not use it? And there are days when I don't feel like going. I don't feel like joining the membership. I don't feel like going to exercise. I don't feel like going to the gym. But the fact that I'm seeing that money come out every month, there is no way I'm going to let them people take my money out and not utilize it. And this is what I talk about, back to that home buying and all that. Anything you want to buy, whether it's a home, you want to buy a home, you want to buy a car, you want to go on a vacation, whatever it is, you want to make some repairs on your house, whatever it is, you got to see your numbers, because it boils down to the numbers at the end of the day. And when I started encouraging people to do their budgeting, people started doing their budgeting, right? And they literally saw it. I didn't care what people put on their budget. Listen, if you are having your subscriptions, put it down. If you're paying, I don't care. You're paying alimony, child support, you're paying your light, your gas. I don't care, whatever it was. You pay your cigarette money, whatever it was. I said, write it down. Your rent, your mortgage. Look at what you're spending. And some of the people that I spoke with, they were like, oh my gosh, like, I'm making this amount and more is going out. I said, that's why you're negative. That's why you feel like you can't save to do anything that you want to do. It's not that you're not working towards it. And that's another thing that I always talk about my channel. You know, talking about, the time that I lost or what I didn't gain. Yo, forget about that. Deal with here and now. Deal with here and now and start with your budget. Start with your budget, and once you start with your budget, what have you, you're able to see what's going in and what's coming out and how your money is being spent. Once you know how your money is being spent, you're able to budget, you're able to change a lot of different things. Sometimes when you do a budget and you look at some of the things that you're paying for or some of the things that you bought, you're like, what? Seriously? And you literally just make a little checklist and you're like, well, I got me 2 subscriptions. I don't need 5. You cut the one that's least important to you. Or you might be budgeting your money for clothes. You're like, well, I just bought myself a new pair of sneakers last month. I don't need to buy another pair this month. I always talk about doing stuff for you, spending your money on yourself. Yes, when you spend your money on yourself, spend your money on things that make sense, that are beneficial to you, that you need. So back to those savings accounts that I talk about, all that money that you take spending on them subscriptions and things that you probably don't need, that are not beneficial. Why not take that money and send that money into, one of your high yield savings accounts, or even that brokerage account? Invest in you, because these are monies, or these are things that grow in the long run. If you ended up doing the IRA, where you're contributing those post-tax dollars, whatever, and you set a goal for even 10 years, that's money that you're paying yourself, that you're putting into you. Okay? If you open up that brokerage account and you decided to invest in some stocks, or even just having a regular cash sweep, whatever, that's money that's being invested into you. If you and this one is so cliche, even the checking account, even if you just open that checking account rather than paying these check cashing places in this day and age to cash your check. Now, I understand that some people can't open checking accounts because they've had problems with check systems before. I always tell people there's always a way to correct it. I don't care if it happened 10 years ago, 10 months ago, 10 weeks ago. Right. You said my daughter's 23 and she's going to start in our account this year and push it all the way to 60 or 65. That's excellent. That's excellent. Right. And the fact that she's 23 years old, can you imagine, like 20 years from now, she'll be set. If she contributes to it, she'll be set. Right, push it to oh, such a blessing. I love hearing stuff like this. These are the things that we need to teach. We need to teach our children how to make generational wealth. I just released another video last week, and again, and I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to push people to my channel, but a lot of the things that I'm talking about tonight, like I've touched on those topics. Now X444 is teaching his daughter about generational wealth because now he's teaching her how to save from now. This, what you're giving your daughter, is such a blessing. This is a gift that's going to set her for life. Once you teach her this, she's never going to have to struggle, because again, in my life, I've had a lot of struggles. I've had struggles because people were just cruel and cold, didn't want to teach me anything. And I've had struggle because I was financially illiterate. I didn't know any better. A lot of the things that I knew is things that I learned. Right. It's things that I learned. I felt that it was just like deception from the door. They didn't want me to grow. And last week, what I was saying is I talked about generational curse. And in that video, I said to people, I said, you're not broke because you're lazy, and you're not broke because somebody got a spell on you. You're not broke because you're cursed. Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, X444. I said in the video, I said, you're not broke because of fun. I said, we broke because of generational curse. That's why we're broke. We're broke because things that's been handed down, nothing has been changed. We're not trying to change. But hearing this, that you're going to like teach your daughter how to gain and how to save, my gosh, she is so blessed. She is set for life. Those are the things that I ended up doing in order to make myself better. And as I said before, this is how this YouTube channel was launched. Now, I've always been a subscriber on YouTube. I started this channel back, I think, in mid-January. Mid-January, I started this channel, and I just get such pleasure. I get such pleasure, when my subscribers tell me that, oh, Mel, guess what? You know what? I opened up this account today, or I came across a little money, and I'm gonna invest my money. I'm gonna let my money work for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much, X444. I feel so good when my subscribers say to me, listen, I'm gonna get this. Or another thing that makes me feel good is when somebody says, you know what, I'm gonna share your video and I'm gonna let somebody else, whatever, this and that. I just want the wealth to be passed. I know a lot of content creators, they come on the live and all they talk about is all the products that they're selling and all the things that you should buy. Yes, I endorse my product and I do ask, for help and support. But I feel so good when I know that my subscribers, appreciate it, and they found things that make them better, or they can use the knowledge and the wisdom. Because one last thing that I want to touch on, why a lot of people have issues. Our wisdom is poor. The wisdom is poor. We were never afforded the knowledge that we needed to afford to be able to get the things that we need. As I said before in the live, a lot of thank you so much. You never listened to a person so long I needed to. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, because as I said before, X444, I get so passionate about this. I get so passionate. I remember I did a live before, and I was talking to a lady on the live, and she contacted me and she says, because of what you were saying with the credit, she said, I'm going to try to buy me a house. And I said, well, you're not going to try. I said, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And once you do it, I said, I'm going to stick with you. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't hear back from her since that time, but hopefully, and when she's ready, you get what I'm saying? But I was so glad that I motivated her. Right. I'm so glad that I motivated her to want to do things. Because again, a lot of us, where we made financial mistakes, was that people weren't motivating us. They weren't encouraging us. In my opinion, they didn't even want to see a lot of us grow. They didn't want us to grow. They didn't want us to get better. They didn't want us to do any of those things. But, like I said, for me, through the grace of God, I was able to uplift myself and overcome certain things. For me, I just really hope that this channel grows, like really, really grow. And when I say grow, I'm talking about I'm able to reach a lot of people and share my my passion, for my success and for their success at that. Because for me as a content creator, nothing makes me feel better than when I know somebody's doing well, or somebody, is achieving something. For me, I went through all of that. you know, and I thank God so much that I've gotten better. Now, the next time that I do a live, thank you so much. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much, X444. Thank you so much. Thank you. And again, if you ever want to talk, you could always send me an email, and, you know, we could DM and talk and so forth. You know, and I don't know if you're a content creator yourself, but whatever it is, it's such a wonderful thing, you know, for you to sit and chat with me on this live. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm all about upliftment. I'm all about upliftment. I don't want anything negative around me or anybody negative around me. I'm all about positivity. I'm all about encouraging and so forth, because I love it when people grow. Hi, Meow Meow. Thank you for joining me on the live. We're almost ready to wrap it up. We talked about financing today. Talk about, you know, motivation, things that motivate us. Any questions on anything? We're talking about different accounts that we use to elevate. Right. Yes. Thank you so much, X444. Thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. If you get a chance, you know, let people know about the channel, you know, spread the word and so forth. Because as I said, I'm here to motivate everybody. I want everybody to do well. Right. I want everybody to feel happy. And I want when people come on my channel, they say, okay, like this lady actually has something that she wants, you know, people to gain, you know? Right, right, right. Thank you so much. But in any event, for those of you that subscribe tonight to the channel, I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the time that you spent with me on this live. For the next live that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking about extensively, you know, the home buying process and, you know, building our credit and so forth. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start, you know, basically premiering it on YouTube when I'm doing live, so people could join me in the future. Again, if you pass to where they'll know exactly like when to sign on and when to come on the live. So for anyone that you know that want to join the live, please pass the word. I do appreciate your time. Well, I've been sitting up in this car and it's like literally nice, Paul. So I'm going to be signing off now. But again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining Team U Finance. I do appreciate the love and the support. All right. Thank you so much, X4. For everyone else, you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.